Today's a little bit of a twofer. I've got the SoundLiberty 88, and I'm also going to do a long overdue test of connecting Bluetooth earbuds with the Insta360 One R. 12.14 miles, 8 minutes, 57 seconds per mile, 142 beats per minute today, having an absolutely lovely time finding that same dog again by that farm. It's the one that I was worried that it wouldn't be able to find its way home because it's a bit of a puppy, but I've seen it a couple other times now. And today I just kind of gave up trying to get the dog to not follow me, and I figured I'd see how long it wanted to run. It ended up wanting to run all the way up to the there's a part where I get from the dirt roads by the farms out to like a busier road, and at that point I just instead of taking the loop that I would have taken, I turned around and took the dog back home. It took a little bit of effort for both me and the farmer who owns the dog to convince the dog to not keep following me, so I feel bad about that. I've made that lady come out of her house to come collect her dog 3 or 4 times now, and I feel terrible about it, but the dog just likes to run, and she told me that today. I was like, hey, I think your dog, sorry, but your dog ran like 4.5 miles with me today, about 5 miles, so he might be tired. And she goes, oh yeah, he likes to run. So had a good time with it. But also for today, I took the SoundLiberty 88 earbuds from Tautronics out for a run. Now, these are earbuds that are a follow-up to some earbuds that I had tested earlier, and they're a different design. This time they look kind of like black AirPods, not AirPod Pros, but just kind of black AirPods. It is a matte black design, which I also really like, and I thought I'd give it a try. The main feature of these isn't noise cancellation, kind of like AirPods Pro or Jabra Elite, but their main feature is that when you're in conversations, it has like ambient noise rejection is what I'll call it. I'm not sure exactly what they're calling it. That is supposed to make it sound clearer when I'm talking to you. Now, first of all though, this is a running channel. Let's talk about what it's like to run in these. I ran in with these for that run, and it was a pretty hot day. Super humid. I was absolutely drenched. I don't know if it came out in any of the footage, but my shoes were squishy by the end because all the sweat had kind of dripped down and collected in the toes. So it was a sweaty day, but these stayed in just fine. And they have that kind of like hard plastic design that the AirPods have. So for those of you who don't like it when an earbud has to get like squished into your ear, this is going to be pretty comfortable for you. I feel like they're a little bit heavier and a little bit clunkier than AirPods are, definitely bigger and heavier than AirPods Pro, but they sit in the air relatively comfortably. You control them by taps, which I just really don't like. You double tap them to advance, play pause, triple tap to advance or rewind depending on the side, and then hold it for 3 seconds to increase volume, which is like, if you were trying to do that while running, that's just like, I tried it, it was doable. It wasn't great, because then it's like you do it, you hold it, and then it turns it down too far, or it turns it down too much, or it doesn't turn it down far enough, and you're just constantly playing with it. And if you only hold it down for 2 seconds, because let's say you just want to turn it up a little bit, if you hold it down for 2 seconds rather than 3, then Siri gets activated. So it's just super convoluted. I'm not a huge fan of the way it works. It's just the problem with these earbuds is like, I don't want to yell at my phone to tell it to turn up the volume. That seems awkward. I don't want to touch anything, because if it's wintertime, I have gloves on. And in the summertime, it's sweaty. It worked in terms of being able to get it to work, it was fine. It's just awkward. And if there's buttons on things that are this small, you're constantly like pushing in your ear. There's like not a great solution for earbuds this small. it was a little bit annoying to work with. It's a complaint I have for all kind of earbuds though. But other than that, running with these was fine. I listened to an audiobook for most of the time. I felt that I had to turn it up a little bit more compared to the Airpods Pro that I'd been running with lately. So that was the only thing, but otherwise I could hear everything fine. Sound, audio quality was pretty good. Listened to some music. That was also pretty good once the audio was cranked up a little bit. At lower volumes, I felt like it was not so great, just kind of like sound, but it wasn't until I really had to crank it up a little bit and then kind of like nudge these a little bit further in the ear to really get a good sense of bass. So those of you that are really looking for a lot of bass, not going to be super satisfying for you. But again, this plastic ear design that is like the regular AirPods or like your earbuds that you get with your iPhone, I find that this is really comfortable to wear for me for a really long time. And they're in such a way that even though this doesn't have pass-through audio, I do feel like I get a lot of ambient noise, which I want because I'm out there running. I still have to listen for things like dogs that are going to start chasing me throughout the entire run. So all in all, a really good running experience with the one caveat of like, I just don't know how you interact with these things in a way that's not super annoying. But overall, in terms of the audio experience, in terms of what I'm hearing, I'd say it's about right for this price range. Maybe a little bit on the underwhelming side for this price range. It was just kind of like audio. You can hear your music. There wasn't anything that really jumped out at me as being bad, but there really wasn't anything that jumped out at me as being good. So appropriate. Now, in terms of what this earbud is really for and why you'd want to buy these earbuds, is this going to be a set of earbuds that I can use to maybe shoot videos like this? Or is it a set of earbuds that is going to be good for Zoom calls and also for your running? So that could be a really important use case for you. So let me show you some different tests. I did some tests connecting the earbuds and also my AirPods Pro to the Insta360 One R. And I also connected it to my iPhone. So that way you could get a different sense of like what like regular cameras sound like if you use no earbuds as microphones, what it sounds like with the two different types of earbuds. So I'll just run them like kind of in series. In each sequence, it explains what kind of the settings and stuff are in terms of which equipment's being used. And then we'll talk about it a little bit after that.
This is an audio test of the Tatronic SoundLiberty 88, coming to you with a sound test from the earbuds that are supposed to have some sort of noise rejection that's supposed to make talking with these earbuds a lot more clear. Compared it to this 360 camera, the Insta360 One R, and it's actually the first time that I've connected these earbuds to this 360 camera. I've tried using the audio before. It's okay in terms of straight out of that camera. Let's see how it is with the earbuds. All right, now doing a similar audio test, just talking to the camera. Same arm length out, same run, same day. But I'm using the in-camera audio to kind of see how that goes. Now, one of the things that I noticed in the last video that I made, where I talked to this camera using the in-camera audio, was that because it's a 360 camera, there's directional mics. And on a clip where it was really windy, I was able to save it by turning down the volume on one channel and turning up the volume on the other. So that seemed to make it work a lot better, and I was able to then duplicate, make it dual mono, and I was able to save that audio clip, which was otherwise pretty much ruined. So let's see if we have any of those issues today, or if I still have the ability to rescue any trouble audio when I'm using these earbuds. So let's go. All right, doing another audio test. This time, different day. It's much more cloudy and ominous out today. I feel like it's gonna rain soon. I was gonna try and wait to do this audio test. So I got to about the same spot that I did the audio test with the Tatronic earbuds. But I don't know if the rain's gonna hold off long enough for that. So I'm doing it now. It's a little bit windier now, a lot windier now than yesterday, but I'm doing this with the Airpods Pro connected to the Insta360 One R. Let's see how that goes. See how the wind rejection goes. I have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of wind noise in here. We'll see how the audio sounds. If there is a lot of wind noise, we'll see what I can do to try and like fix it. We'll see. Ooh, the air is so thick today. Oh, it's a hot, humid breeze. What wind coming through. Past this time, I still have the AirPods in, but I've connected it to my Apple Watch and I'm hearing audio from an audiobook right now, just to kind of make sure that the audio I'm getting is clean from the camera. I think I've got some corn blocking a little bit of the wind, but with the wind coming down through this hill, we'll see how the audio test goes. We'll see if I can save any of the wind noise, if I get any. Although, feeling pretty secluded and protected from the wind at the moment. So, we'll see how this audio sounds.
All right, this is a quick test with the AirPods Pro, seeing how the audio does. Right now, I'm just hand holding my iPhone and giving you a sense of what the audio sounds like if I were talking to you via the AirPods Pro, say for example in a phone conversation. Now keep in mind with the phone, you're gonna have kind of the data compression of it going and getting transmitted, but this is as clean a signal as you're gonna get. Straight me connecting it to the phone and recording that. And now this is what it sounds like, same day, just one right after another. Now with the SoundLiberty 88, there's still a little bit of wind, still some road noise in the background. You're getting a sense of what it's like. It's not active noise cancellation in terms of what I hear, but it has something in it that's supposed to neutralize ambient noise. Kind of like, what were those old ones? Jawbones. Kind of like what Jawbone used to do. So I think that's kind of what it's trying to emulate in terms of the sound. This is just a sound test. And now this is just a third test with no earbuds in, just the audio straight coming out of the iPhone. I'm hand holding it, obviously, so you're getting a sense of the distance is just a little bit less than an arm's length out, but hopefully this gives you a sense with some ambient noise, birds chirping, a little bit of wind in the leaves, and some road noise in the background. This is the third audio test. So those are the tests that I did in terms of the audio, not a super scientific test, but it'll give you an idea of what, if you're talking to someone else or if you're gonna use this as a microphone, what your user experience is going to be like. So first up, the SoundLiberty 88, these earbuds with the Insta360 One R. I didn't think it was a very good experience at all. I think it's like the gain is too high, and so I felt like my audio was all blown out, and it sounded like I was speaking through like a really crappy children's toy megaphone, and it just wasn't a really good experience. With the AirPods Pro though, I felt like the AirPods Pro plus the Insta360 One R was a pretty good match, and I feel like these two are tuned for each other, and like the settings are tuned for it, because as you heard in some of the other audio tests with like the iPhone, the audio that comes out of these in terms of your microphone is a little bit underpowered, and so I feel like the Insta360 One R is boosting that signal that comes in, which is why when these earbuds are paired with this camera, it sounds all blown out because the settings are just kind of like off. I felt like the AirPods Pro and the Insta360 One R was good, but I feel like the Insta360 is also doing some sort of vocal enhancement that's making other ambient noise sound squirrely and like squeaky. It has like that kind of like digital like chirping in it that I find really off-putting. I'd rather have wind noise than that digital chirping. I don't know if you could hear it, but I heard it when like that truck was going by me, and it felt like what was like truck noise turned into like a weird screeching, squealing. So I didn't really like that, but I feel like it's a pretty good option, because when you listen to the audio this by itself, you really get a lot of the wind noise, and both sets of earbuds I thought did a good job. The AirPods Pro doing better because I think that they're very well tuned for each other, like intentionally it's designed for that. But the thing is, if you do know how to play a little bit with audio, I'm no audio engineer, that's for sure, but if you know how to play a little bit with audio, I think you could tinker around with this, and as long as the wind is only coming at you from one direction, you can like kind of turn down one side and turn the other side back up, and you can rescue the audio that way, and that I think makes for probably the best experience. So I would probably recommend to people, for most people, if you're gonna be talking to your Insta360 One R, don't use anything. Or have a secondary, I'm using a lavalier mic today, use a second mic to do it if you have to, if you're not in an action kind of shot type of scenario. But if you're in an action shot scenario, don't worry about earbuds. Just talk to the camera, figure out how to adjust the audio, and you can usually rescue it later on in post-production or in editing. So that's kind of the recommendation there. The results get a little bit more interesting, I think, once we're talking to the iPhone. So if you're using your iPhone for Zoom calls, or if you're connecting your earbuds to a computer for Zoom calls, I think that the SoundLiberty actually wins. I think, here's the thing, I think the microphones for all three devices, whether it's the SoundLiberty, the Airpods Pro, or just the iPhone itself, I think all three of those microphones are really good. Far better than kind of the audio that I would normally expect to hear from earbuds or straight out of a phone device. But I feel like the iPhone, one of its strengths is it does have good microphones in it. I think that's an underrated feature. So my overall thoughts are that the AirPods Pro plus the iPhone were a great combination. I thought it worked really well. I would highly recommend that. I felt like the SoundLiberty 88 was slightly better because it was louder without being overblown like it was overblown with the Insta360 One R. And I feel like if you're talking about voice, louder is better. As long as it's not getting like all overblown and doesn't sound kind of like that digital muffling kind of sound, then I think the louder is better. And so like with Zoom, like I don't know how to like, not within the app itself, not unless I'm gonna run my mic through like a soundboard, I don't know how to like turn up my audio. So having earbuds that kind of like are a little bit louder, I think really helps. And I think that's where like the intent of this earbud and its primary function is being used for calls rather than just for listening to audio, really shines through. And so I do think that this is actually better if you're gonna be looking for a set of earbuds that you could run with and do a lot of voice calls with. Is it substantially better to the extent that, I mean, the audio quality on this is just so much better to listen to live with. So I still think that, I'm not sure the difference is quite there, but if you've been using these and you're like, the audio just isn't good enough, you want to try something better, I'd look at the SoundLiberty 88. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?